Gita as a Shastra, Srimad Bhagavad Gita as a Shastra, is the manual for all of us to have a living with purpose and balance. And that is the central theme of Srimad Bhagavad Gita. And when we say the purpose and balance, what is my true purpose in life? This true purpose in life is, we can say, self-realization in the daily life, not only at some point of the life, or it is not something that should happen after some point of time in life. That realization should happen on a daily basis. What is the implication? One has to recognize the true nature beyond the profession, beyond the capabilities, beyond the status that we have, beyond the achievements that we have in life, beyond the identities that we have in life. Right? When we say identities, these all are created. Profession to status to identities to achievements to everything that we have created. So one has to recognize the true nature beyond all these assumed personalities or the possessions that we have. So our actions and the motive in life should be to realize this on a daily basis. And this is the real inner purpose. If you see, in life, when we do a lot of things, when we run after many things, we ourselves will ask, what exactly am I doing? Why am I running? What is my true purpose? So every action that we do, ultimately, though there is a motive in the external world, what we are trying internally is to align with an inner purpose. Right? And if you know that inner purpose, then it is a true alignment. Otherwise, it becomes a frustration because we will be chasing one thing after another. And if you are driven by external triggers and external approvals, then the burnout will happen. So when one operates with this knowledge, what is the true purpose? Who am I? The identification of the true self beyond all these assumed personalities, then one's life will result in creating decisions that will bring peace and inner happiness, even if we face any setbacks in life. This is the fundamental wisdom that Bhagavad Gita is giving to us. And it is very difficult when we operate in this world, action oriented world, how we can ensure that we are not affected. The only way is basically actions without attachment. Perform our duties. Don't run away from any of the duties. How to perform? With care, with excellence. And at the same time, we should not get anxious. When I say we should not get anxious, it means it's remain unattached to the outcomes. It doesn't mean that we have to get rid of acting. You have to act with care and excellence, no doubt. But don't become attached to the outcomes. The implication is that don't become anxious. Act with a cool-headed pace. So how this can be practically achieved. If it is in the workplace, how one should work? One should work very diligently on the projects or endeavors. Ensure that you strive for the quality and also be mentally composed, whether you get recognized or not, whether the project becomes, you know, truly successful or not. We don't have full control on all those things, but put your best efforts. You work diligently on your project, on your product development, or making the life of others easy, whatever is it, wherever we are working, whether you get recognized or not, don't care all those things. Diligently work. And when it comes to family life, how one should inculcate this capability. Let's take the example of the parents. How or what should be the attitude when we upbring the children? Teach the values. Teach the values and have a faith in them that these values will manifest in the proper form, right? So that is where we cannot expect that they will do this or that, but give good education, give good avenues for them to grow, inculcate value, and have the understanding that this may take years to manifest in a proper way. Stay calm, encourage them. Or if you see from an entrepreneurial angle, so we all know that the entrepreneurs, especially the startups and the people who get into, you know, the new business, how they do have a vision, right? Their vision may not be to make money, correct? People get into this new business out of their passion, out of some vision. Need not be only for the financial reward. Obviously reward is needed, but not giving utmost importance to that financial reward, correct? So when they work in this kind of a scenario, when they work in this kind of attitude, they will remain resilient even if some failure happens. So Srimad Bhagavad Gita is a very ancient value for modern living. And if you see the values that Srimad Bhagavad Gita is giving to us, like gratitude, that is where now we are going through the yajna bhavam, the honesty, the mutual respect. These all are really needed, right? For what? For having a proper life. See, when we have gratitude, when we have honesty, when we have mutual respect, our relationships will become improved. Our mental health will be improved. And we all know this is a AI age. This is the age of artificial intelligence. And all human skills can be replaced. Correct? The people who used to do the documentation or coding, everything is getting replaced by AI. But what AI cannot replace, there are a lot of human-centric values and capabilities, such as empathy, moral judgment, what is apt, or the storytelling, or in a office scenario, the cross functional problem solving capability and the kind of creativity, right? It doesn't mean that AI can replace human beings. The kind of creative dimensions that human beings can leverage. That is where Gita as a Shastram inculcates the profound value, starting with gratitude, honesty, simplicity, mutual respect, empathy, judgment based out of dharma, moral judgment. And when it comes to the health and well being, how you should become a disciplined person, how one should have self control. We will be able to see these verses at some point of time in Bhagavad Gita, including the diet, what sort of lifestyle one should follow. And again, in the modern age, when I say health and well being, that needs certain amount of discipline and self control. Correct? Whether it is for the diet or exercise or consciously deciding this is the kind of lifestyle I should have. And this is not a compulsion. So that is where one has to be very mindful while applying this kind of disciplines and self control. And this mindfulness is towards what is, it is not a compulsion, it is basically a decided choice to make a proper holistic well-being. And when it comes to society, if you see professionals in governance or the public services, what should be their attitude? Service should be the first attitude. Service should be the prioritization. When compared to the short-term gains, what is that long-term kind of benefit that as an individual I should offer to the society? Within this structure of ethics and trust. Gita as a Shastram talks about the mental discipline, contentment. Quieten your mind. Remove the agitations. This is the prajna lakshanam which we have seen. Remove the agitations. You be equanimous in life. You be away from desires and greed. And you find satisfaction in the present moment, rather than worrying about what will happen or how the outcomes would be. And when it comes to conflicts are inevitable in life, right? We all deal with different conflicts at work, at home, in the society. There will be a lot of disagreements, right? So how one should deal? And when we encounter a kind of a disagreement, instead of chasing an immediate emotional satisfaction or addressing immediately, one should take a step back, observe what is the situation, then respond thoughtfully. See, if you see in the present age, impulsive reactions are becoming more and more. So that is where Gita as a Shastram always say, you respond meaningfully. So this is a kind of a mental discipline and a kind of a capability that one should have in life. And now if you see these verses, they stress basically the principle of yajna, the principle of sacrifice, principle of social responsibility. That's why Bhagavan says, view all actions as offerings for a collective good. You try to foster mutual nourishment and bring harmony in life, including the environmental protection that we should do in life. Correct. See, if you see, when we work in this world, in whatever capacity, you need to see what is that I am doing to reduce the wastage, reduce the use of resources, or what is the way that I should get into, ensure that the resources are optimally used. How will I honor the natural resources? This kind of a mindset is needed. How will I see this kind of mindset only will enable those kind of thinking such as sustainability and all those things. This is a sacred kind of a thinking. Duty itself should be considered as a sacred endeavor. That's what Karma Yogam says. And if you see the yajna bhavam, again the collaboration coming into picture. And when we work as a team, right, how we should work, collaborate in a generous way, share the resources. When we say yajna bhavam, it is basically for a collective good rather than seeking any personal acclaim, including the community service, volunteering, mentoring, feeding the poor, feeding the hungry. And how it should be done? It should be done selflessly. And what should be the attitude behind it when we do that? Enrich the person, enrich the society, and deepen the personal fulfillment out of this. And Bhagavan stresses much upon the detachment and excellence in life. Perform your duties diligently, don't run away. And the duties should be performed with what? With the freedom. When we say freedom, what is the freedom here? The real freedom is freedom from the limiting expectations. Perform duties diligently with the freedom, and the greatest freedom in life is basically free from the limiting expectations. So when we get into this mood, then the initiatives from a person, initiatives from all of us, the capability to take initiatives in life will become much more. We will be, we will be running with the extreme freedom in life. We will be capable to experiment. We will be able to take risks in life for what? For the improvement, for a better good. We will not have that fear of failure. And the relationships will also improve, especially, when we operate with this freedom, we will be able to support each other, we will be able to uplift others, letting go of this possessiveness or demanding something from the other. This will go away. And as a person, when we say leadership and all, by nature we all do many leadership activities on a day by day basis. That is where the beauty of Bhagavad Gita comes. You see yourself as an instrument of a higher purpose. When you see yourself as an instrument of a higher purpose, automatically humility will come there. So the decisions, the actions of that individual will be made with humility and a source of stewardship, obviously. And when we work in an organization, So what comes first is basically the organizational impact over the personal benefits or the ego. So these were the principles that we have seen in the last few slokas. I am not talking any management science here. These are some of the things that we have seen in the past slokas, where we can reflect further upon this and consciously apply in all our realms, whether it is in family or work or health or society or for our own personal upliftment. The verse 3, the Karma Yogam, number 9, the verse number 9. Yajnarthad karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhana tadartham karma kaundeya mukta sangha samachara. Work done as a yajna, selfless offering for a higher purpose, will not bind. So, will not bind meaning what? Work itself will become liberating. So, when we have the yajna bhavam, the work will become liberating because you work with the mentality to contribute. You work with the mentality to offer. You work with the mentality to do a service. So when we have this mindset, work will become a liberating element. That's what Karma Yogam says, work as a worship, not work as a pressure. The yajnam is what? Yajnam is any action that is done with gratitude, that is done with selflessness, that is done with dedication, that is done with detachment. So when we act with gratitude, selflessness, dedication, detachment, what happens? The action that we do with this mindset will purify rather than binding us. This is the essence of Karma Yoga. And followed by the verse, Sahayajna praja svishtva purovaja prajapati anena prasavishyadhvam eshavostishta kamaduk. The universe is built upon the mutual support. Humans support the nature and nature supports humans. Individuals support the society and society supports the individuals. This is the law of nature. And this yajna, whatever Bhagavan says in this verse, this is the real principle or this is the real secret behind the successful teams. This is the real secret behind the happy families. This is the real secret behind the thriving societies. This is the secret behind an individual's good health also. You may ask, these all are very, very philosophical, you know. Take the example of a small mobile app developer. He is going to build an app. When the work is done with the mindset that let this get benefited by more people, let it get benefited by the people who are going to use. A million benefit, let it happen. This itself is a yajna. So that when we have this mindset, we'll also ensure that, yeah, let me do a good job, let me do a thorough job, let me do a thorough testing, let me do, flawlessly. Or when a farmer grows the crops, when with a mindset that let the cities survive out of this, let others flourish out of this. This is yajna. So when we have this kind of an attitude, what will happen? The peace of mind will happen, and we are also creating space for others in our mind. Let us take the example of a corporate world. Assume that you are working in a company where nobody collaborates, nobody or people thinks only their own interest, or no one shares knowledge. Will that practically become successful? Cannot be. Whereas if there is a shared purpose, if there is a mutual support, if there is collaboration, so this is not a rocket science. That is what Bhagavan says as yajna. This is world's first teamwork and leadership principle that Bhagavan Krishna is giving. Yajna is the foundation of life. Yajna is the foundation of life. Yajna is the foundation of mental health. Yajna is the foundation of the relationships. Yajna is the foundation for the leadership. Not only stopping with that, as the foundation of a society, as the foundation of ecology, as the foundation of collaboration, as the foundation of mutual growth. Verse number 11, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantu va parasparam bhavayanta Shreya paramavapsyada. Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuva parasparam bhavayanda Shreya param avapsyada. So here the devas get nourished. Let us take the example. Our prana, or the breath as a life force. Here when Bhagavan says devas, we need to understand that all the forces that sustains you, all the forces that sustains you, so nourish those forces, they will nourish you. How? Through mutual support may propitiate you. You shall again propitiate. So these devan bhavayada anena te deva bhavayantuva parasparam bhavayanta. Shreya param, the highest good. Nourish the devas, the forces that sustains you, and they will nourish you. Through mutual support, you achieve the highest good. So here we have to understand that life runs on reciprocity. You give to the world gives you back. And in the next verse, Bhagavan says, if you take without giving, you will become a thief. If you are looking only on consumerism, then you are called as a thief. The universal law of karma, law of dharma, is what? You contribute, you receive it back, and you prosper. Where it starts? You contribute, you receive, then you prosper. So our nature works on exchanges, not on entitlements. How you breathe oxygen, trees are giving. And your carbon dioxide, trees need it. Trees need carbon dioxide, who will give? You, we give it. And rivers give water, rivers are nourishing us. What we should do in turn? We should protect them. So in our families also, what we need, before we expect what we should do, we have to give. We have to give. So you need to understand that even for respect also, you give respect, then you take respect. Because people need those things. You give that, you support, you appreciate, you love, you understand. At work also, don't just consume. You have the mindset to contribute meaningfully. When I say contribute meaningfully, in terms of good ideas, new ideas, in terms of knowledge, in terms of ownership, in terms of consistency, in terms of value. What is that value I am contributing, I am making? So when we take salary, right, salary is basically a consumption. What is the attitude that we need? We need to see, how am I contributing meaningfully? In the way of what? In the way of how am I giving new ideas? How am I creating value? How am I creating new products? How am I creating knowledge? How am I creating additional ownership? How am I maintaining consistency? And at our mind level also, we need to really reflect upon this part. How am I nourishing my mind? So when I nourish my mind, the mind will also nourish me back. Here, when the verse says Devan Bhavadanena, mind is also Devan. Mind is also Devan. So how one can nourish the mind? By giving silence to the mind, by giving the good attributes such as having gratitude in life, or allowing the mind to concentrate. This is also a nourishment. Allowing the mind to be in the company of good people, allowing the mind to listen to satsangam, allowing the mind to read, reflect the scriptures, allowing the mind to listen to the spiritual talks, allowing the mind to surround with good people. Not only the mind, if you have to see Devan meaning including the mind, including the people around you. Because if you see the different yajna Bhagavan is covering in the Bhagavad Gita, Deva yajnam, Pitru yajnam, Bhuta yajnam, Manushya yajnam, and Brahma yajnam. So when we have the gratitude to do the service, that itself will become a bhakti. So that gratitude will bring happiness in life. Verse number 12, Ishtan Bhogan Hivo Deva Dasyande Yajna Bhavitaha Tair Dattan Apradayaibhyo Yo Bhungdestena Evasa. Ishtan Bhogan Hiva Deva Dasyande Yajna Bhavitaha Taihi Dattan apradaya ebhya yaha phungte stena eva sa. So here the deities propitiated by yajna will give you desirable objects. And one who enjoys those without offering to them in return is indeed a sthena, a thief. So the desirable objects are given by the devas to you. They have the yajna mindset, and you not offering to them back and enjoying, and you will be called as a thief. When you say you, that person who is not giving back and only enjoying those objects which are given by the different life forces, is indeed a thief. And taking without giving is called as stealing from the universe. Taking without giving is stealing from the universe. That's where Bhagavan says you do karma yogam as a yajnam. Karma yoga as a yajna. You give, you give, you give, you will receive. Give and you shall receive. So here life booms when there is a mutual support. Taking without giving is a robbery. Taking without giving is an adharma. What is the meaning here? Taking without giving is basically called as ingratitude. Not having gratitude. That will destroy your prosperity. If you have a feeling that I should only consume and should not give back, that mindset will destroy your prosperity. Maybe in the modern world we can say the operating system. When you work or when you deal with a computer or a mobile phone, there is an operating system underlying that. So here yajnam is the operating system of the universe. When I say yajnam, the elements of contribution, the elements of gratitude, elements of discipline, elements of cooperation, they are the fabric of the universe. And this is yajnam. That is why yajnam is called as the underlying aspect of this universe. And prosperity happens through the yajnam, and which is a cycle. Give, receive, multiply, and give again. You give, receive, multiply, and give again. And if you are breaking this cycle, your prosperity will end. Verse number 13. Yajna shishtashinas santo muchyande sarva kilbishai hunjade te tvagham papa ye pajantyatma karanad. Yajna shishta ashina santaha muchyande sarva kilbishai hunjade te tu akham pavaha ye pajanti atma karanat. So those who eat food after offering it as a yajna are freed from the sins. But those who cook only for themselves, what they eat is only sin. What is the implication? When you live your life with gratitude and sharing and caring, the life will purify you. And when you live only for yourself, that life will become heavy and polluted. And here yajna system, what is the meaning here? What remains after offering? And if you go to a temple, you offer banana or fruits to the Lord, you are buying the fruits for 250. It's a mix of different fruits. What is that you are expecting back after the puja? Are you expecting the value of the fruits? I mean, the quantity of the fruits as 250, is it? You may get one item or two items or three items. What has more value? The box or the bowl that you gave inside, or the one which you received after the puja? Which one you will value?
Which you receive back.
The one which you receive back. So what remains after offering is the prasadam. So offering is a ritual. It is an attitude. So here, offering in life is basically what? Sharing, contributing, having gratitude in life, not claiming ownership. You acknowledging these sources. See, in the academic world, we have to cite whatever we write. Basically, what? Acknowledging the source of knowledge, who established this. You need to have the sharing, contributing, gratitude, not claiming ownership, and you need to have the mindset of acknowledging the sources. So, contribution centered living is called as the purification of life. And self-centered living, when I say self-centered, the ego-centered living is called as the heaviness. So yajna, when we say you start your day with a gratitude feeling, that itself is a yajna. And you see what you can share. Share what you can. Don't live only for the personal gains. Yajna is a mindset. Yajna is something that we all need in life. That yajna is something that will simplify our life, giving lightness in life. So Bhagavan says energy flows when we live with contribution and gratitude. This itself is yajna. When we have the mindset of contribution and having gratitude in life, that is called as the yajna bhava. Verse number 14. Annad bhavandi bhutani parjanyad anna sambhavah yajnat bhavadi parjanyo yajna karma samudbhavah. So annad bhavandi bhutani, all living beings are born from the food annam. Parjanyad anna sambhava. Food is produced from the parjanyad anna sambhava yajnat bhavadi parjanya. So rain. Food is born from rain. Food is produced from rain. And rain comes from where? Rain comes from yajna. And yajna karma samudbhava. And yajna arises from the righteous actions. So in a modern context, we can just say that if we act responsibly in this world, the world will respond responsibly to you. When humans act responsibly and selflessly, nature will support. And when our actions become greedy, and when our actions become exploitative, our nature will stop cooperating. If our actions are selfish, if our actions are careless, then scarcity will come, including climate problem. All those things will come. Stress will come in us. Chaos will increase. So here rain, when I say rain, we need to understand that rain is basically an inner nourishment. So when our mind is nourished, when our mind is purified, we will get those profound values of gratitude, sharing, caring, humility, simplicity. And it is very much needed because nature responds based on the dharma. Verse number 15. Karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tasmad sarvagadam brahma nityam yajne pradishtidam. So you need to know that karma, the ritual, karma, no karma to have risen from where? From the Brahmodbhavam, from the Vedas. And Vedas came from where? Brahma Akshara Samudbhavam. They came from the imperishable Lord, imperishable Brahman. The all-pervasive Supreme is therefore present in every act of sacrifice. So what is the common element? Common element is what? Common element is the Akshara Brahman, the divine intelligence behind everything. And it supports those who act in alignment with. What is the alignment? Alignment with the invisible order of life. Alignment with the thread that connects everything in this world. So yajna is doing something beyond yourself with the understanding of the invisible thread that connects everything in this universe. Yajna, from a modern world perspective, honesty at work, speaking kindly, having gratitude, having the mindset of caring, sharing, having the mindset of looking at one's face and talk. Why am I saying is basically, people have forgotten to look at the face because always scrolling and trolling, looking at the phone screen. Looking at one's face and talk is also a yajna in the modern context. Speaking kindly and expressing things from the heart also will become a yajna, because after some time only AI will talk. And I think people also stopped writing emails, etc., because every AI agent can do this. So, jokes apart, honesty at work, speaking kindly, looking at one's face, talk, express from the heart, mentoring somebody, mentoring a colleague, help a colleague, including cooking at home with love. These all are yajna as per the modern world. So this verse basically these verses teach us that the selfless action should be plugged into, and this selfless action should be plugged into what? the deepest intelligence of the universe. Align with that. Then the life will flow effortlessly. So these 4 5 verses basically summarize the harmony, summarizes the mutual support, cosmic life of harmony, and the law of mutual support between human beings, nature, and divine order. As I mentioned before, yajna is the operating system, and we have to adhere to some protocol. What is that protocol? Universal reciprocity protocol, where the attitude is always sharing, caring, so that you will get the help. You try to help first. Like in the supermarkets we say cashback system. No, this is basically the cashback from the cosmic. So you act, you take the initiative first. You act, your actions will create the nature's response, and in turn will bring nourishment in you and further renewed actions. Very profound verses, very apt in this modern world. The dimension of yajna bhavam, and that is one of the cornerstones of the karma yoga. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamadachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti
Shanti, Shanti,
Shanti.
Shanti.